A small introduction of both the Minister and the Permanent Secretary, if I may. Minister Shah is known for her commitment towards progressive policy making and her advocacy for women's rights. Her leadership has been instrumental in advancing gender equality and women empowerment within Mauritius, her country. She has championed initiatives to address gender-based violence, promote economic empowerment, and access to education and healthcare for women and girls. Minister Shah has also been recognized for her efforts to increase political representation of women and eliminate domestic violence and violence against women at the workplace. Through her work, she has demonstrated a deep understanding of the challenges faced by women and families and a strong commitment to addressing these challenges through innovative policies and effective practices. So, very warm welcome. She has sent her video message that will be played shortly. And representing the minister is Ms. Fulrani Rampadat. She is a highly respected civil servant who has made significant contributions to the advancement of gender equality and women's empowerment in her country. As a permanent secretary, she has played a critical role in shaping the policies and initiatives to ensure the well-being of families and to promote gender equality across all sectors. A very warm welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for last minute jumping in, making the flight. We're grateful you're here. Welcome to India and welcome to Orissa and the program. I would like to next introduce you to a legend in Indian diplomacy, someone who I would describe, and I've described once before, as a noble, gentle giant, Ambassador Vijay K. Nambiar. Ambassador Nambiar has served as a former special advisor to the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. Prior to this, he was the Deputy National Security Advisor to the Government of India and the head of the National Security Council Secretariat. He also served as the ambassador to several countries in Asia and in the US. During the course of his professional career in the Foreign Service, he has also served in numerous bilateral, multilateral appointments in Beijing, in Belgrade, and in New York. He was involved at the delegation level in numerous UN and non-aligned summit and ministerial conferences since 1979. And for those who do not know it, Ambassador Nambiar is also a polyglot. He speaks more language than my time limit on this program. Welcome, Nambiar, sir. Rumor has it that Nambiar, sir, is actually going to speak to us in Chinese, and the only translation will be in sign language on both screens. Joking. Moving next, it's my pleasure to introduce and extend a warm welcome to Mr. Ramu Damodaran. Ramu Damodaran ji has served as the chief of the United Nations Academic Impact, an initiative he was asked to devise and lead, which aims to align institutions of higher education with UN goals and mandates. And how perfect, because we have two wonderful institutions over here welcoming Ramu ji, both Amrita and KIIT. I hope that you find both of these institutions that not just meet and match the expectations of UNAI, but far exceed it as well. And a little more on Ramu Damodaran ji, his extensive experience in academia and international development. He's also an expert in the intersection of education, sustainability, and global issues. His work has been instrumental in fostering partnerships between universities and the United Nations, and to promote the power of education in achieving social change. Ramu Damodaran ji has been recently awarded the honorary degree of Doctor of International Affairs, honoris causa, by the J.F. Oberlin University, recognizing his commitments and contribution to global education and fostering the culture of peace. Very warm welcome, Ramu ji. Thank you for being with us here today. Yes, please. And now the best to the last. It fills my heart with deep affection and respect to introduce the tireless contributor to universal sisterhood, Ms. Naila Chowdhury. She's a member of the C20 International Advisory Committee, same as Ramuji, which I forgot to mention, and she's also the global advisor at Cure Violence Global. Ms. Chowdhury, Naila Didi, as we affectionately call her, is a renowned global expert in the fields of governance, development, social innovation. She is originally from Bangladesh and has been with us for many, we've been associated with her for many, many years. She now lives in the United States. She has over 25 years of experience in global peace initiatives. She served as the CEO for Pillars for Dignity and the founding director for Social Impact and Innovation at UC San Diego. She currently serves as the global advisor for Cure Violence Global, and she is also the director of global partnership and resource management for the Foundation for the Support of the United Nations. She's also the person to first start a 24/7 call center in Bangladesh, and she was the first woman director of Grameen Phone Limited, which then eventually became the largest phone company in Bangladesh. And through this, she supported millions of women in remote villages become economically empowered. She has made significant contributions as a global ambassador for the Joyful Women Foundation, founder and chair for Women for Empowerment, global project advisor for Fashion for Development, chairman of the Teleconsult Group. In her own words, my key focus remains dignity, peace, empowerment, a world without violence and prosperity for all. Eid Mubarak, Didi. Very happy that you're here on such an auspicious day, and which makes us feel that you really think of us as family. Thank you so much for being here. Please join me in welcoming Naila Didi. I also welcome my co-coordinators, both national and international, Meg Jones, Nidhi Goel, who are sitting in the audience, to all our staunch supporters who are seated here in the front rows, the wonderfully dedicated, sincere CSOs who are all here today, because you believe in bringing voices together and in uniting efforts towards the greater cause. Just like the Swamini sang, Sahana Bhavatu, may we just take our efforts together in unison without any grief or conflict. Welcome from me, but joining me also in welcoming is this army of brilliant, sincere people who have incessantly worked to make this happen. So very warm welcome to everybody here in the audience. Welcome to the staff and students of the Kalinga institutions. You have welcomed us to your home. We welcome you to our hearts and to the conversations that we are having here today. We all know that the health of a nation, a community, and a family is good when the women of that unit come together as one. So women are the keepers of all the vulnerable populations while being vulnerable themselves. In working on women's empowerment and gender equality, we naturally bring the missing balance in the world. We realize and acknowledge that this is not making men of women, but in acknowledging, accepting, and cherishing, nourishing the strength of the feminine. Together, let us ensure that women all over the world, genders all over the world, have the awareness, access, opportunities in education, skills, health, work environments, to make sure that they're not vulnerable in social and political and cultural realms, to rejuvenate their relationship with the environment, leading to an equitable, harmonious world. With gender, I also include the same prayer for all people with disabilities as well. So this is our prayer, and this is hope that what the event on gender equality and disability will bring to you. Thank you so much. Very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for taking the effort and taking the time to come and be here. Thank you.
We would now like to hear from the C20 Chair of 2023, Mata Amritanandamayi Devi's message on gender equality and disability.
ഈ പ്രപഞ്ചത്തിലെ മറ്റ് ചരാചരങ്ങളും പഞ്ചഭൂതങ്ങളായ ഭൂമി, ജലം, അഗ്നി, വായു, ആകാശം എന്നിവയിൽ നിന്നും ഉടലെടുത്തതാണ്. പഞ്ചഭൂതങ്ങളുടെ ഉറവിടം പ്രകൃതിയാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് പ്രകൃതിയും മനുഷ്യനും ഒന്നാണ്. ഈ സത്യം അനുഭവതലത്തിൽ അറിഞ്ഞതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഋഷികൾ വസുദൈവ കുടുംബമെന്ന് ഉദ്ഘോഷിച്ചത്. ഈ ഉപനിഷത്ത് വാക്യം G20യുടെ ആദർശവാക്യമായി തിരഞ്ഞെടുത്ത് എല്ലാം കൊണ്ടും ഉചിതമായി. സമഗ്രമായ ആരോഗ്യപരിപാലനം, ലിംഗസമത്വം, സാങ്കേതിക ശാസ്ത്രം ഇവയൊക്കെ C20യുടെ പ്രവർത്തന പദ്ധതിയിലുണ്ടെന്ന് അമ്മ മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്നു. ലിംഗസമത്വത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് പറയുമ്പം ലോകത്തിൽ പലരും സ്ത്രീകളെ രണ്ടാം തരക്കാരായിട്ടാണ് കാണുന്നത്. സയൻസും സാങ്കേതികവിദ്യയും വളർന്നു, ലോകം പുരോഗമിക്കുന്നു, മനുഷ്യൻ കൂടുതൽ പരിഷ്കാരികളാകുന്നു എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുമ്പോഴും സ്ത്രീയെ അംഗീകരിക്കുന്ന കാര്യത്തിൽ ആഴത്തിൽ എവിടെയോ ഒരു മുടക്കവും വിമിഷ്ടവുമാണ്. ലോകമെമ്പാടുമുള്ള 15നും 19നും ഇടയ്ക്ക് പ്രായമുള്ള കുട്ടികളിൽ 4ൽ ഒരാൾക്ക് വിദ്യാഭ്യാസവും ജോലിയും നിഷേധിക്കപ്പെടുന്നു. എന്നാൽ ആൺകുട്ടികളുടെ കാര്യത്തിൽ 10ൽ ഒരാൾക്ക് മാത്രമാണ് ഈ സാഹചര്യമുള്ളത്. മറ്റൊരു പ്രധാന വിഷയം ദുർബല വിഭാഗത്തിൽപ്പെടുന്ന സ്ത്രീകളെയും കുട്ടികളെയും ശാക്തീകരിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അവരെ കൈപിടിച്ചുയർത്തുന്നത് നമ്മളൊരു യജ്ഞമായി എടുക്കണം. അവരിൽ ഉറങ്ങിടക്കുന്ന കഴിവുകളെ അവരുടെ സ്വന്തം ഉന്നമനത്തിനും സമൂഹത്തിൻ്റെ വളർച്ചയ്ക്കും ഉപയോഗിക്കാതെ നഷ്ടമാക്കരുത്. ആശ്രമം തന്നെ എത്രയോ വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് മുമ്പ് ഏതാണ്ട് 25 സ്റ്റേറ്റുകൾ 108 ഗ്രാമങ്ങളാണ് അമ്മ ആദ്യം എടുക്കാൻ പറഞ്ഞത്. അതിൽ ഓരോ സ്ഥലത്തും പഠിപ്പിക്കാൻ പോയ സമയത്ത് ചില ആണുങ്ങൾ ഗ്രാമത്തിനോട് ഞങ്ങളുടെ പെണ്ണുങ്ങൾ ജോലി എടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ജീവിക്കേണ്ട, പുറത്ത് ജോലിക്ക് വിടത്തില്ല. അവർ ജോലി എടുത്തവർക്ക് അഹങ്കാരം വരും. ഇങ്ങനെയാണ് എല്ലാ അമ്മക്കളുടെ പല അമ്മക്കളുടെ ഭൂരിപക്ഷം അമ്മക്കളുടെ ചിന്ത അങ്ങനെയാണ് കാണുന്നത്. അവർ നേരത്തെ കണ്ടത് വെച്ചാണ് അവർക്ക് ഈ ഒരു കണ്ടീഷൻ കിടക്കുന്നത്. അവർ തെറ്റായിട്ടമ്മ പറയുന്നില്ല. നമ്മളെന്ത് ചെയ്തു, അവരെ പുറത്തേക്ക് വിടുന്നില്ലെന്നല്ലേ പറയാം, അകത്ത് ചെയ്യുന്ന ജോലികൾ നമ്മൾ പഠിപ്പിച്ചു കൊടുത്തു. അപ്പോൾ അവർ ജോലി ചെയ്ത് തന്നെ പൈസ ഉണ്ടാക്കി. ചിലടത്ത് പിന്നെയും ഭയങ്കര കർശനമായിരുന്നു. ആയിരക്കണക്കിന് സംഭവങ്ങളുണ്ട് അങ്ങനെ നമ്മളവിടെ നിന്ന് പഠിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നവരുടെ. സ്ത്രീകളെ പിന്തള്ളുമ്പം മൊത്തം ജനസംഖ്യയുടെ 50% കർമ്മശേഷിയും സമൂഹത്തിനുള്ള സംഭാവനയാണ് ലോകത്തിന് നഷ്ടമാകുന്നത്. സ്ത്രീകൾ മുന്നോട്ട് വരുമ്പം പുരുഷന്മാർ മാറിക്കൊടുക്കുക, അഴിയൊരുക്കി കൊടുക്കുക. അവർ വൺവേ ആകരുത്, ഹൈവേ ആകണം. ഇപ്പോൾ സ്ത്രീകളും കൈക്ക് മസിൽ വയ്ക്കാൻ മത്സരിക്കാതെ ഇവിടെ ഹൃദയത്തിൽ സ്വയം തൻ്റെ ഹൃദയത്തിൽ മത്സരിക്കണം. ഭരണനെ സ്വീകരിക്കാനും ആത്മവിശ്വാസം ഇടാൻ മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാനും അവരൊരുങ്ങണം. അവരതിന് സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ നമ്മൾ സൃഷ്ടിച്ചു കൊടുക്കണം. അല്ലെ സമൂഹത്തിൽ വലിയൊരു നഷ്ടമായിരിക്കും. നമ്മൾ കോടിക്കണക്കിന് ജനങ്ങളെ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. എന്നാലും നമ്മുടെ കോളേജിൽ പോലും കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങൾ ഡിഗ്രി എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കണമെന്ന് അച്ഛനന്മാർ പാഠം വയ്ക്കും. പിന്നെ PhDക്ക് ആരെയും അനുവദിക്കുന്നില്ല. കാരണം അവർ പറയും PhD എടുത്താൽ ഇത്ര വയസ്സാകും, അപ്പോൾ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കാൻ ആൾ വരത്തില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് പിൻവലിക്കാൻ ശ്രമിക്കും. കുട്ടികൾ എന്നോട് പറയുമ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് PhD ചെയ്യാൻ ആഗ്രഹമുണ്ട്, ജോലിക്ക് പോകാനാണ് അച്ഛന്മാർ പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പം അമ്മ തന്നെ പറഞ്ഞത് ജോലിക്ക് വിട്ടും ശമ്പളം കിട്ടണമെന്നല്ലേ, അതേ ശമ്പളം തന്നെ കുഞ്ഞിന് കൊടുക്കാം. നല്ല കഴിവുള്ള കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അമ്മ പെട്ടെന്ന് തന്നെ മടുത്തുനിന്ന് 100 പേർക്ക് PhDക്കുള്ള സ്കോളർഷിപ്പ് കൊടുത്തു. അവർക്ക് എത്ര ശമ്പളം പറഞ്ഞാൽ അതേ ശമ്പളം വെച്ചുള്ള സ്കോളർഷിപ്പ് കൊടുത്തു. അപ്പോൾ ഈ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങൾ നല്ല ധാരാളം പേപ്പർ എഴുതുകയും നല്ല കഴിവുകൾ കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ സാധിച്ചവർക്ക്. അങ്ങനെ കുട്ടികളെല്ലാം PhD എടുക്കുകയും നല്ല കല്യാണം കിട്ടുകയും കല്യാണം കഴിക്കുകയും ചെയ്തു. അപ്പം നമ്മൾ ഭയന്നിരുന്ന് കുട്ടികളെ ഇങ്ങനെ അല്ലേ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നാൽ നിങ്ങളത് സാധിക്കുമോ? അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ സാഹചര്യം ഒപ്പിച്ച് കൊടുത്താൽ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും അവർക്ക് അവരുടെ കഴിവിനെ പുറത്തു കൊണ്ടുവരാനും അത് സമൂഹത്തിന് ഗുണകരമാകുകയും ചെയ്യും. സ്ത്രീകളെയും അപരകളെയും ആദരിക്കുവാനും സഹായിക്കാനുമുള്ള അവബോധം ആൺകുട്ടികളിൽ ചെറുപ്പത്തിൽ തന്നെ വളർത്തിയെടുക്കുക. സ്നേഹത്തെ ആരാധനാമൂർത്തിയാക്കാൻ കുട്ടികളെ പരിശീലിപ്പിക്കുക. ഈശ്വരൻ സ്നേഹമാണ് എന്നതുപോലെ സ്നേഹം ഈശ്വരനാണ് എന്നും താഴെയുള്ള ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ മുതൽ തന്നെ മനസ്സിലാക്കി കൊടുക്കുക കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങൾക്ക്. നമുക്കെല്ലാം ഒരേ മനസ്സോടെ ഒരേ ലക്ഷ്യത്തോടെ ലോക നന്മയ്ക്ക് വേണ്ടി നിസ്വാർത്ഥമായി പ്രവർത്തിക്കാൻ നമുക്ക് കഴിയട്ടെ.
May Amma's words guide us as we embark on this momentous journey in drafting policy recommendations for the G20 leadership. It is now my privilege to invite on stage Dr. Chittasamantha Ji, Member of Parliament and founder of the Kalinga Institutes. Sir.
So good morning everybody present here. At the outset, my Charan Sparsh Pranam, Mata Amritananda Mai, Amma. And also on this inaugural session for 2 days program, C20, we have with us our Parama Pujya Swamiji, Amrita Swarupananda Puri, on the dais. And also we have with us on virtual mode Honorable Miss Kalpana Devi Kunju Saha, and also on the dais a respected Phul Rani Rampadarth, Permanent Secretary. And also we have with us our respected Ambassador Vijay Nambiarji, C20 Sherpa. Also we have with us our respected Sri Ramu Damodaranji, first Chief UN Academic Impact International Advisory Committee C20. Also we have with us respected Ma'am Naila Chaudhary, Global Advisor Cure Violence Global and Chairpersons Women for Empowerment US present here. And also many distinguished dignitaries both from India and outside India present on the audience side. So my regards to all of you and all the other respected invited speakers, delegates, approximately 300 from the different civil society organizations present here. Our respected senior functionaries from both KIIT and KIIS universities also present here. And also my lovable KIITians and KIISians, those are present here. And also lovable student participants from the different school, college are also present here. And respected press persons both from electronic print media. Our Vice Chancellor of KIIT University, Pro Vice Chancellor KIIT University, Registrar KIIT University, and many others, and also Vice Chancellor, Registrar of KIIS Universities, Principal of Medical College, and our Director General, many senior functionaries also present on the audience side. So, I am very much happy that you have been very nicely welcomed by respected Madam Bhavani Rao. She has welcomed each and everyone on the dais and off the dais. But still, as a founder of KIIT and KIIS, of these two world-class beautiful institutions, I welcome you all to the Civil 20, Gender Equality and Disability, Working Group Summit commencing from today. This 2-day summit on one of the work streams of the engagement group of G20 is one of the most critical, relevant and important issue to be addressed. Once again at the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Mata Amritananda Mai Amma for selecting KIIT and KIIS to host this summit, as she is an epitome of love, compassion and social justice, and also the chair of this C20. Amma has always inspired us to strengthen our resolve to work at ground zero. And I had the opportunity to meet Amma at her place and got the blessings from her. So I extend my once again heartiest welcome and gratitude to Amma. Similarly, it's my great pleasure as a founder of KIIT and KIIT that we have with us Swami Amrit Swarupananda ji, Parama Pujya Swami, and he is the Vice Chairman of Mata Amritanandamayi Math and President of the Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitham, deemed to be university, and also representative of the C20 chair, Sri Mata Amritanandamayi. So, Swamiji, it's my great pleasure to welcome you once again. On behalf of the staff, students, management of KIIT University and KIIT University, on my behalf, I welcome you. I hope definitely it is your program. We are hosting it in Bhubaneswar. Definitely your stay and everything will be very comfortable and very memorable. Yeah. We have with us also on the dais. I am not taking much time. I have given very few minutes. So extend heartiest welcome to respected Madam Phulrani and also respected Mr. Vijay K. Nambiar, respected Sri Ramu Damodaranji, and respected Ma'am Naila Chaudhary. So on behalf of both the universities and on my behalf, I welcome you all. Thank you very much. With the invitation of Swamiji, you have all come to join this program. I hope you will return with a very good experience from these two beautiful universities. I am very much happy and honored to extend my heartiest welcome with gratitude to Swamiji Daya Mitra Nandaji, Executive Director of Mata Amritanandamayi Center, US. Similarly, we have with us our beautiful guest from the far distant country Argentina, respected Madam Camila Lopez Badra, Executive Director of the Democracia Global Argentina present here. She had come here from the long distance place. She will deliver the lecture perhaps today or tomorrow. Similarly, we have another one guest, respected Ma'am Miss Anne Bassam. She is the Chair International Task Force on Human Trafficking from the US. She will also deliver the lecture. Respected Ma'am Jones, Senior Expert Gender and Trade, present at the time, and also respected Ektrina, the Permanent Secretary of the World Summit of Nobel Peace Laureate, present here. Our own Odia Fellow, now with the Ma Amritanandamayi, respected Mr. Satyananda Mishra ji, IS, former Chief Information Commissioner of India, also present on the audience side. Respected Mr. Sarthak Das, Chief Executive Officer of the Asia Pacific Leaders Malaria Alliance. Respected Ma'am Nidhi Goel, Rising Flame India, and also many others, respected delegates and speakers, those are present on the audience side. It's my great pleasure also to welcome representatives from over 300 international and national CSO, delegates from various agencies of UN, representative from the G20, C20, Government of India and allied sectors also, those who are present here physically and also virtual mode. So let us go to the heart of the matter. Gender equality and disability rights are critical issues and we need to work together to address them. To fully realize gender equality, we need to ensure that all women and girls have access to the same opportunity and rights. But we know that this is easier said than done. Gender discrimination is deeply ingrained in our societies. We need a holistic approach that addresses access to education, healthcare, employment, and other critical areas that affect vulnerable and marginalized groups. This means shifting gender relations, promoting women's leadership, and also engaging men and boys in the process of attaining gender equality. In this context, I would like to mention that these themes for the C20 is being hosted here in KIIT and KIIT premises, and this is the best place for your kind information to host this type of theme, that is gender equality and disability. you will be happy to know that we are having two great universities. KIIT universities, Kalinga Social Industrial Technology, with 40,000 students from pan-India and 65 countries. 50% girls. Out of the total students, 50% belong to girls. We have 15,000 permanent staff, 5,000 temporary staffs in KIIT, KSS, KIMS. You cannot believe 50% of the staffs belong to girls, women. Our president of this entire KIIT is the woman. She is a lady of 76 years old. Vice Chancellor of this KIIT University is a woman. All important posts are with the women in the KIIT and KIIT. That's why KIIT and KIIT have been grown so beautifully, so nicely within 25 years only. Even chairperson of the international school, we are also having one very beautiful KIIT international school. That is the only international school in eastern part of India having 3 affiliations, Government of India, CBSE, IGSE and also IB. She is also a woman. So we empower and respect women. More you respect and empower women, more you will be glorious. That is my taught to me by my mother from my childhood. That's why after losing father at the age of 4, not getting even 1 square meal in 2 days in my childhood, God has put me in this position, founder of KIIT and KIIT. I respect women. I empower women. That is the secret success of Achyut Samant. Another one beauty of the world, as people say, 8th wonder of the world, Kalinga Institute of Social Science. A home for 80,000 poor indigenous children, tribal children, fully free, fully residential. It is also university, only tribal university in the world. 40,000 pass out and 40,000 in the campus. You may not believe, 65% of them girls. 65% of them girls. And I know there is no time to explain this gender equality or the importance of girls and women in the society, in the country, in the state. So there is lacuna of time, so I don't want to, but you will be happy to know that this KIIT is the 8th wonder of the world. Very beautiful in all respect. Today you have a functions in KIIT also, you will see the beautiful children and you can see the smiling face of my lovable girls from the KIIT present here with the uniform. How beautiful they are, how empowered they are. So anyhow, my objective is to that we believe in gender equality and disability. You will be happy to know that 400 differently abled persons are the employee of KIIT and KIIT. We first give priority, and we have hosted many seminar, workshop, conference for these differently abled persons in KIIT premises, and we respect them like anything. And I am happy that more than 400 employees in KIIT belong to this category, differently abled. So anyhow, these good things is that I am grateful to Param Puja Swamiji who have given us a. It is so there are so many things to speak, but I should avoid it. It is already time, but I hope you will carry the beautiful Odisha and KIIT back in your heart, and let us continue to work together to make a difference. Remember, the power of collaboration is immense, and together we can make a better world. And you will be also happy to know that our Honorable Chief Minister Odisha Sri Naveen Patnaik ji empower and respect women first through Mission Shakti. Through Mission Shakti, he has become the champion of the women, not only in Odisha but also in India. More than 70 lakh women SSG groups have been empowered with the help of the Honorable Chief Minister of Odisha. That means here we all are giving top priority to women. We know unless until the women will be empowered, there will be no success in India or state or even in our organizations, KIIT and KIIT. So once again, thank you very much, all the honorable delegates, 300 from the different civil society organizations. Definitely there are very beautiful speakers I have seen. They will deliver their lectures in this today and tomorrow, and you will enjoy the entire things here. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I kindly request Professor Achyuta Samant, Honorable Member of Parliament Lok Sabha and founder KIIT and KISS, to felicitate our esteemed dignitaries on behalf of KIIT and KISS.
Swami Amrita Swarupanand Puri, Vice Chairman Mata Amritanandamayi Math and President of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, deemed to be university, and representative of the C20 chair, Shri Mata Amritanandamayi.
Ms. Phoolrani Ramapadarth, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Gender Equality and Family, Government of Mauritius.
Ambassador Vijay K. Nambiar, Principal Coordinator, Sherpa, C20.
Shri Ramu Damodran, First Chief, UN Academic Impact, International Advisory Committee, C20.
Ms. Naila Chaudhary, Global Advisor, Cure Violence Global, and Chairperson, Women for Empowerment, USA. We would also request dignitaries of the dais to please come up on the stage, and we would be felicitating them. Starting with Swami Daya Amritanand Puri, Executive Director, Mata Amritanandamayi Center, US.
Ms. Camila Lopez Badra, Executive Director, Democracia Global, Argentina.
Ms. Meg Jones, Senior Expert, Gender in Trade, Meg Jones.
Mr. Satyanandra Mishra, former Chief Information Commissioner of India.
Mr. Sarthak Das, Chief Executive Officer of the Asia Pacific Leaders Malaria Alliance.
Ms. Nidhi Goyal, Rising Flame, India.
Dr. Bhavani Rao, Amrita University, India.
Thank you, sir.
I would now like to invite on stage the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Gender Equality and Family Welfare, Government of Mauritius, Ms. Fulrani Rampadarji, representing the Honorable Minister, Ms. Kalpana Devi Konjusha. Rise, ma'am.
Srimata Amritanand Mai Devi, Amma C20 Chair, Professor Achyuta Samanta, Member of Parliament, Founder of the Kalinga Institution, Swami Amritaswarnapurnanda Puri, Representative of Amma, Ambassador Vijay Nambiar, C20 Sherpa, Mr. Ramu Damodaran, Member of the C20 International Advisory Committee, Ma'am Naila Chaudhary, Member of the C20 International Advisory Committee, and Global Advisor, Q Valence Global, Dr. Bhavani Rao, C20 Gender Equality and Disability Working Group Coordinator, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. I am extremely honored to be here today to represent the Republic of Mauritius and to participate in this summit on the subject of gender equality and disability, a subject that transcends borders and affects all of us. I would like, on behalf of the Government of Mauritius and on behalf of the Honorable Kalpana Konjusha, Minister of Gender Equality and Family Welfare, extend our heartfelt thanks to the C20 Gender Equality and Disability Working Group for the invitation and for allowing us to share our experiences and challenges in addressing gender inequality and promoting gender equity, thus bringing our humble contribution to this laudable initiative. Allow me now to share with you that the government of Mauritius has adopted a national gender policy for the period to 2022 to 2030, which was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Pravin Jagnnath, as part of the government's commitment towards the cause. The policy document sets out the guidelines that underpin government's commitment to integrate gender in all planned actions and provides the basis upon which every sector is guided to develop their sectoral gender policies and implementation plan. Under the leadership of the Honorable Kalpana Kunjusha, the Ministry of Gender Equality, Family Welfare of Mauritius is endeavoring in implementing the various policies aiming at mainstreaming gender in both the public and the private sectors and promoting the economic inclusion and empowerment of women and girls. Without further ado, let me now pass on to the Honorable Kalpana Kunjusha, who at the last minute, unfortunately, could not be able to make it. The Honorable Minister would like to address the audience on the theme of gender equality and disability by way of a video message. Thank you, everyone.
All participants, distinguished guests, very warm greetings from the Republic of Mauritius. Thank you for this tremendous opportunity to address this most highly esteemed audience on the very pertinent realities of disability and gender equality. It is an undeniable fact, supported by research-based evidence, that till today, nearly all women with disabilities are unable to fully enjoy equal rights. They make up, without doubt, one of the most excluded and isolated segments in every society. It is confirmed by countless studies, countless surveys, that these women are more likely to end up in extreme poverty, to end up with little or no schooling at all, which in turn leads to unemployment, to be unmarried, to be childless, to be physically, sexually, or psychologically abused, only to end with an ongoing list of wrongs that we, not only as policymakers, but also as human beings, we have the duty to redress this situation. Let us ponder the statement put forward in so many previous fora, and I quote, "Women are subject to triple discrimination by society, not only because of their disabilities, but also because they are women and they are poor." The general outlook still prevails worldwide that a disabled woman has little hope of becoming a wife or a mother or of getting a job. She therefore is looked upon as a burden to her family or to the state, a dependent for the rest of her life. Ladies and gentlemen, enough of this desolate side of the coin, which we are all very much aware of. Let us take stock of the aspiration of such women. If one could gather the million voices of these disabled and disadvantaged women, gather their pleas into one sound, I have no reason to doubt that collectively they would be saying, "I want to be like others." This is the aspiration of every disabled woman. To be able to have friends, to go to school, to have qualifications, and to get the skills for a good job. And then when they get the job, to do it well, to be independent, to be respected, to give and to receive love. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, they want to have a life like any other woman. And this is where we, as principal actors, we need to come together to bring this much needed and long overdue change to the state of affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, the United Nations has been promoting the development of an inclusive global society, especially for disabled persons as agents of change and as beneficiaries of this change for the past decades, through the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which was adopted in 2006. As of today, 157 member states have ratified the CRPD, and Mauritius likewise happens to be one of the signatories to this convention. Mainstreaming the issues and plight of disabled persons into the process of development is crucial to attain the goal of leaving no one behind. As such, member states are expected to give due attention to full inclusion of disabled persons in their work towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals 2030. The number of disabled persons is estimated to be beyond 1 billion, and that's approximately 1 out of every 7 persons in the world today. Moreover, many disabled persons live in extreme poverty. Therefore, the inclusion of disabled persons must take place in order to reach the set goals. However, inclusion at the national level is not going to be sufficient to achieve these goals. This concept must also be applied to multilateral organizations, and global decision-making processes needs to be implemented on multiple dimensions, be it global, regional, national, and local dimensions. The proclamation on the full participation and equality of people with disabilities in the Asian and Pacific region, which has been signed by 39 nations in the region, brings hope for a regional focus within this global perspective. During this conference, the Gender Equality and Disability Working Group intends to reinforce an approach to equality and development through an understanding that mutual respect and compassion to be at the very core of global governance for societies and the planet to flourish sustainably. Through this lens, ladies and gentlemen, the EGED working group will deliberate on access to education, access to healthcare, financial and environmental resources, to decent work and infrastructure, decision-making, systemic issues such as discrimination based on gender or ability, gender-based violence, lack of representation, and economic disparities. Distinguished participants, allow me to share with you some of the progress made by the state of Mauritius in promoting gender equality with a specific focus on gender and disability. As you may know, disability and gender are intertwined, as both seek to promote the rights, opportunities, and uphold the dignity of individuals. Mauritius has made significant progress towards addressing the challenges faced by women and girls with disabilities. We recognize the need to support them in their pursuit of education and integration into the labor market. The need to empower them with the autonomy to thrive in society. The Republic of Mauritius has signed and ratified different treaties to protect women's rights and prevent discrimination against women. Mauritius has domesticated most of the treaties, and legislations have been introduced or amended to give effect to these treaties. For instance, Mauritius has ratified and signed the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. In terms of legislations, Mauritius has enacted the Special Education Needs Authority Act in 2018, which ensures that children with disabilities have access to the best educational opportunities suitable for their specific needs and to integrate mainstream education. The Ministry of Social Integration, Social Security, and National Solidarity is working on a draft disability bill. This landmark legislation will provide further protection to persons with disabilities. It's going to be encouraging access to tertiary education for students coming from low-income families and to students with disabilities, as well as the creation of a rehabilitation center to cater for disabled patients following accidents or surgeries, as well as setting up a mechanism for dealing with cases of abuse and violence on persons with disabilities. We are also in the process of drafting a gender equality bill that would enshrine a high-level strategy to tackle gender inequality in the legal landscape and make provisions for structures to implement gender mainstreaming so that we can strengthen ministerial responsibility and accountability processes. Ladies and gentlemen, in light of several policy issues that obviously has far-reaching implications, I am very sure you will appreciate that this is indeed a complex matter. So due to the complexity of the proposed provisions, the draft working document is being reviewed at the level of my ministry. Consultations to that effect are ongoing. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of the Republic of Mauritius adopted a national gender policy for the period 2022-2030, this year in March itself, and this policy provides the basis for integrating gender in all planned actions and sectoral gender policies. Subsequently, a national steering committee on gender mainstreaming, which was set up since 2010, is ensuring that every sector develop their own sectoral gender policies and implementation plan. In parallel, we have set up an interministerial gender technical working committee with specific gender focal points of all line ministries so that they can take stock of the actions that they are planning from a gender lens within their respective sectors. And that includes the Ministry of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity. At institutional level, we have a dedicated Disability Empowerment Unit which operates under the aegis of the Ministry of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity, and this unit is the focal point for disability issues in Mauritius. It is responsible for the conceptualization and the implementation of disability policies, projects, programs. In a nutshell, it facilitates the process of integration of persons suffering from disabilities into mainstream society. Mauritius provides a wide array of social benefits to people with disabilities, including women. And these are not limited to basic invalidity pension to those with a disability, as well as a carer's allowance to individuals with severe disabilities or those who are bedridden that require constant and targeted care. There is also the regular domiciliary visit of a doctor to persons who are bedridden. Psychological and mental health is another critical aspect of gender equality. And by providing equal access to mental health care and support, we can tackle the gender-specific challenges faced by both men and women in our society. Mental health services are available and accessible to all women, all children, and adolescents. Psychological and social support are provided by a dedicated team of psychologists and medical social workers. Ladies and gentlemen, several measures have been taken by the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family Welfare in order to provide psychological support to victims of violence and abuse, and that includes persons with disabilities as well, so that we can enable them to overcome this emotional and psychological trauma that is related to abuse and violence. Madam Chair, dear participants, Mauritius has made commendable progress in addressing gender equality and promoting gender equity, particularly in the areas of disability. Take it from psychological and mental health, economic empowerment, education, skill development, society, culture, engagement of men, boys as agents of change, safety, security, environment, climate change, and so on and so forth. However, having said that, there is still much to be done, particularly in the areas of disability. Efforts are required. Take it from psychological, the government, and mental health, society, economic empowerment, to ensure that education, skill development, is realized society, culture, engagement of men and boys, gender policy, as agents of change, safety, security, environment, and climate change, and so on and so forth. To yield these goals. However, having said that, we must continue to strive towards a society where every individual, regardless of their gender or disability, every individual enjoys equal opportunities, rights, and dignity. Only then can we truly achieve sustainable and inclusive development in Mauritius. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I humbly thank you for giving me the opportunity to intervene on the progress made by the state of Mauritius on gender and disability, and I wish you all very fruitful deliberations on such a vital theme for our future. Thank you very much.
We congratulate the country of Mauritius on the amazing progress that they are making in the sphere of gender equity, and we wish them luck in enforcing and bringing their bill ahead. We will now be playing a video by the C20 chair, Mata Amritanandamai.
The Indian ethos, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one world, one family, underscores the inherent unity behind this seemingly diverse creation. It is the view that there is a common thread harmoniously binding all life. This ancient worldview is deeply ingrained in the Indian psyche. This outlook bears tremendous significance when it comes to sustainable development. Thus, it is rooted in that vision alone that the 2023 G20 and its official engagement group, the C20, are moving forward. For too long, the world has witnessed violent conflicts in the name of race, religion, and cultural and political differences. Civil society groups have to strive to rise above such divisive politics. They have to dialogue with a focus of remembering that the world indeed is one big family. The projects launched by the Mata Amritanandamai Mutt have always been in response to the needs of the hour. For example, its environmental program, Amala Bharatam, focused on cleanliness campaigns and creating awareness of hygiene. Children were taught to carry handkerchiefs to stop spitting on the ground. It was really a decade later, during the days of the pandemic, that we saw the urgency of such programs. Amma's relief and rehabilitation projects in the wake of natural disasters have brought hope to the world, drying the tears of the affected when earthquakes, tsunamis, and other such tragedies have devastated lives. In such situations, Amma's response has always been swift, with various groups of devotees and volunteers completing reconstruction of homes in record time. Inspired by the loving help they received in their hours of need, many people who have benefited from Amma's outreach programs have gone on to volunteer to help others undergoing similar tragedies in the future. This is a proof of the power of love to bring seemingly disparate groups of people together. Amma's views on gender equality have challenged traditional and conservative concepts. She has revolutionized antiquated custom by which women have been alienated. She has paved the way for many women to learn Vedic chanting and to learn to perform religious rituals. These were things often previously reserved for men alone. Moreover, Amma has even inducted women as temple priests. In Amma's own words, in reality, God is neither male or female. But if we are forced to choose, then it makes more sense for God to be female, because He is contained in she. In Amma's view, men and women are not meant to compete with each other. Rather, they are to complement one another, like the two wings of a bird. Amma's worldview is founded in her love for all creation. It is not just about addressing gender's inequality, but about addressing all kinds of limitation and marginalization. Some people are denied the opportunity to lead a dignified life due to mental, physical, and genetic disabilities. With this in mind, Amma has devised and implemented many programs for their welfare and rehabilitation. Helping the powerless and helpless is always in the center of Amma's heart. Amma has built an empire of love. She reaches out to all sections of people across the world, embracing the underprivileged and marginalized. She has successfully implemented innumerable social upliftment programs all over the world. Amma has introduced financial assistance programs to supplement the income of impoverished people. She has started drives to provide fresh drinking water, skill training projects, programs to generate employment, started self-help groups to financially support women's groups, welfare projects for socially backward communities, education schemes, programs to preserve the culture of indigenous populations, orphanages, old age homes, care homes, hospital networks, women empowerment programs, initiatives to ensure the rights of transgender communities. The list goes on. It is Amma's view that it is not enough to give a voice to the voiceless. We also have to listen to them. We have to implement projects that will improve their quality of life. Amma's compassion for marginalized sections of society have made it possible to execute this large spectrum of welfare and aid projects. The institutions created by Amma stand as a testimony to her love, compassion, and selflessness. The Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, both its hospital in Kochi, Kerala, and in Faridabad, Haryana, provides advanced treatment to all sections of society. These hospitals are a manifestation of Amma's concern for society. The deemed university, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, is a center of learning and research, having a radical positive influence on Indian education. Its ethos is education both for life and livelihood. Amma wants each of us to shine in the light of knowledge and help each other to shine therein as well. Amma has addressed many international summits aimed at world peace. Her words enlighten these global meetings. Her love unifies diverse and scattered people across the world. She is striving to usher in a world of harmony, security, and progress. She is catalyzing a sea of change in the world, from a state of estrangement and alienation to one of binding oneness. Let there be love, peace, happiness, and harmony. May our thoughts, words, and actions contribute to the happiness and freedom of all beings. This is Amma's prayer.
Thank you. Next, we have with us the senior most disciple of Mata Amritanandamayi Devi and the Vice Chancellor of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Swami Amrita Swarupananda Puri, the official representative of the C20 chair for India. Swamiji.
Om Premamridanandamayi Nityam Namo Namaha. Om Premamridanandamayi Nityam Namo Namaha. Om Premamridanandamayi Nityam Namo Namaha. I humbly bow down at Amma's sacred lotus feet. My namaskarams and loving greetings to Dr. Achyut Samanda, Ambassador Vijay Nambiarji, Ambassador Ramu Damodaranji, Miss Fulrani from Mauritius. I have to be very careful while pronouncing her name. Miss Neela Chowdhury, Nidhi Goyalji, Miss McJohns, and Satyananda Mishraji, who has been hiding the first half, and Swami Dayamridananda, and I think, sannyasins also should have some degree of gender equality. So we missed one name, Swamini Suvidyamrita Prana. So gender equality is maintained. And dignitaries on the stage, off the stage, delegates, students, teaching and non-teaching staff, Dr. Bhavani Rao. I cannot start my speech without expressing my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Achyut Samanta, the whole and soul of this institution, for hosting this event. And for extending his unconditional support to us. I'm immensely grateful to Dr. Varun Sutra for taking care of our requirements. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Allow me to begin with an incident that happened a year and a half after the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Once our organization finished its tsunami relief and rehabilitation activities, we wanted to create a document for future use and reference by putting all the details in a book form. When the sample copy of the book was ready, we showed it to Amma before sending it to the printing press. And it was a quite a large book filled with photos and vivid descriptions. Amma flipped through the pages and looked at all the photographs of the various tsunami relief and rehabilitation activities. There were pictures of Amma working alongside with the volunteers, Indian and Western, senior monks, residents. We even had a picture of Ram. Ram was the elephant, the male elephant. And he was also doing some activities. And while glancing through the picture book, Amma suddenly shouted, "Where is Lakshmi?" At first we thought Amma was referring to Amma's personal attendant, whose name is also Lakshmi. When somebody was about to run out to call Lakshmi, Amma stopped the person and exclaimed and explained, "No, no, 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 Lakshmi, Lakshmi, the female elephant. Where is Lakshmi? The picture of Lakshmi." And Amma said, "It's not fair. You have pictures of Raman, but not Lakshmi. She also deserves appreciation." So we had a female elephant also. Her name was Lakshmi. So Amma was referring to that Lakshmi. So this is an example of real fairness, not just for human beings, but also for all creatures, and also extends to non-sentient beings as well. So this incident clearly depicts the concept of gender equality. It is not just human beings. I must say that without accepting, understanding, and recognizing women as equals, freedom, happiness, harmony, coexistence, and self-unfoldment, followed by real development, at least to some degree, because as long as we are in this world, everything is relative. There is no perfection. There's no 100%. So at least to some degree will remain a far cry. That's whatever I could learn by people and situations while traveling with her for the last 44 years. Even though the world has become relatively pro-women, there is still a lot to change. And in many countries and cultures, there is an urgent need for women to be liberated from the intellectual and psychological clutches of men and society. So this liberation not only frees women, it is not freedom for women, but men as well. So men, including myself, must be compassionate and unchain women from the shackles of the past. And women will automatically become empowered if that happens. But women too will have to heighten their consciousness to come out of the psychological conditioning that society has forced on them. Of course, men have their own strengths and potential, but women own greater powers. Women in general have better health, greater resistance to diseases, longer lifespan. They have lower suicide rates and lesser cases of depression and mental illnesses. Women have more patience, love, and forbearance. And that's why God did not give the privilege, the rare gift of pregnancy to men. And on top of everything, men are born out of woman. As Amma said in her message, she carried him, nurtured and nourished him, and completely enveloped him for 40 weeks, 280 days, 9 months and 7 days. So when all these qualities are put together, men have nothing much to claim. It is natural for a weak person to put up a show of courage, power, and authority, right? Maybe that's what men are doing. Maybe to cover up this feeling of inferiority, men have built an air of pride and dominance around them, including myself. I'm not excluding me. I'm neither trying to belittle men, nor am I trying to overstate women's qualities. As Amma says, men and women are like the two wings of a bird. And what does that mean? Unless men and women work in harmony, like the two wings of a bird, as a single unit, all our efforts to create balance will only be futile. Moreover, the existing imbalance may get worse also. I read an article recently, it says that worldwide, in addition to not being paid to delay or give up their career to raise children, women working outside the home only make 77 cents for every dollar earned by men. As a result, there is a lifetime of income inequality between men and women, and more women are retiring into poverty. So does this mean that women's work is undervalued? Even if the work itself may demand equal or more effort and skill, why is it valued and remunerated less? Financial and economic empowerment is one of the key factors in keeping the gender balance. It is said that if we keep at our current pace of correcting this imbalance, it will be another 100 years until women receive equal pay for equal work. However, I should mention that one small step forward, the BCCI, the Board of Control of the Cricket in India, decided to end pay discrimination for men and women cricketers. And this happened last year, I think. I would like to add that when we speak of gender equality, we are in fact talking about justice and fairness, about treating people, both men and women, with respect, dignity, and love. The thing is, inequality is an integral part of creation. We cannot deny that fact. Not only among humans, but in every other species in creation, including the plant and animal kingdom, males and females exist. And their dharmas are different. So that difference should be accepted. So the real difference has to be accepted, and the invented differences should be abolished. Whether it be natural or man-made, the world and all its resources belong to both men and women. Therefore, opportunities and freedom have to be shared, then equality automatically happens. So equality is not something against men. On the contrary, it is for the betterment of both sexes, society, and the world as a whole. Honestly speaking, I don't believe in Western feminism. And I suggest revolutionizing the whole perspective. There is danger in Western feminism. To courageously fight for their rightful claims, women do not have to act and speak like men. No. They don't need to copy and strip men and their strengths. No. Women inherently have greater strength than men. They should tap into that potential. I'm all for gender inequality, but not in the reactionary way it is happening right now, which is more an imitation than evolution or transformation. Reacting to a situation or system with the intention to imitate the other will only destroy our originality, and at the most, we will become carbon copies. Why should we adopt something that is taking away our own originality? It's like Anthony Hopkins wanting to become Amitabh Bachchan, or Anthony Hopkins wanting to become Ranveer Singh. Why? In America, post-World War I, opportunities were short-lived. Millions of men came home after the war to claim their former jobs, while women returned to domestic roles or jobs such as nurses, teachers, or secretaries. It wasn't until the 1960s that a new generation took up the call for equal opportunity. However, in Rwanda, that's not what happened. The call for equality was led not by thousands of women, but by one man, President Paul Kagame, who has led the country since his army stopped genocide. Kagame decided that Rwanda was so demolished, so broken, it simply could not be rebuilt with men's labor alone. So the country's new constitution, passed in 2003, decreed that 30% of the parliamentary seats be reserved for women. The government also pledged that girls' education would be encouraged, that women would be appointed to leadership roles such as government ministers and police chiefs. Kagame vowed to not merely play catch-up to the West, but leapfrog ahead of it. The country embraced Kagame's policies and even went beyond its mandatory minimum. In 2003 election, 48% of parliamentary seats went to women. And in the next election, 64%. So today, Rwandan politics is cited as a model of gender inclusiveness, but the beauty is the Rwandan women did not relinquish their culture, their originality. So when we compare the historical evolution of the international profiles of the two subject areas, gender equality and disability, it becomes evident that the topic of gender equality has acquired much greater visibility than of disability inclusion. The reasons for this are obvious. To begin with, the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women was adopted in 1979 by the United Nations General Assembly. Described as an international bill of rights for women, it entered into force on 3rd September 1981 and has been ratified by 189 states. From the early to mid-80s, the Nordic countries, that is Denmark, Finland, Ireland, Norway, and Sweden, began championing the cause of gender equality at the United Nations and other international forums. Subsequently, they were joined by the United States and other Western countries, followed by developing countries. Disability inclusion, on the other hand, appears to have been a latecomer in comparison. The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities was adopted on 13 December 2006 at the United Nations headquarters in New York and was opened for signature on 30 March 2007. The convention entered into force on 3rd May 2008 and has been ratified by 104 states. Until then, efforts had been more sporadic. Historically speaking, persons with disabilities have come to be looked upon as those deserving sympathy and kindness, rather than persons with rights to be treated as equals. Full and barrier-free accessibility and disability inclusion are not merely about visible disabilities, but also about invisible disabilities, including those resulting from aging and temporary disabilities arising from accidents, pregnancy, or any other incapacitation. They are not about charity or sympathy, but about dignity, self-worth, and respect. No meaningful, sustainable development is possible if we continue to exclude, ignore, or marginalize 15% of our population. Until accessibility is recognized as an enforceable right, we will not have an inclusive society. To highlight the importance of accessibility and disability inclusion, we support and are about to execute full and barrier-free accessibility and disability inclusion as a standalone, dedicated working group of the C20. I sincerely hope that India's G20 presidency will consider implementing this change, which indeed would be a great service to that section of society and would be a great service to humanity as a whole. In my view, there is another significant contribution that CSOs can make to the international discourse of the topics of gender equality and women's empowerment, as well as accessibility and disability inclusion. Experience shows that most of the contributions in these areas has traditionally come from industrialized countries and tend to reflect conditions, experiences, and challenges in those societies. They do not always necessarily incorporate or address conditions and culture that exist in developing countries and the specific challenges that they face, especially in accessing, adapting, and utilizing rapid technological advances made in recent years. What other practical, implementable, and meaningful recommendations can and should the C20 bring forward and submit to the G20, especially those who go beyond the traditional ones relating to advocacy and calls for the allocation of additional financial resources. May this meeting clarify these questions. In summary, as gender equality is gradually gaining momentum, the issue of disability should also be seriously addressed. The contributions of these two sections of society are priceless. Out of ignorance, inherited tendencies, or past conditioning, historically, we haven't valued the capabilities and contributions to the building of wholesome societies by spreading the message of oneness and unity. And women can contribute immensely in unity, peace, and love. Unless we honestly take up these issues and find practical and effective solutions to bridge the gap, it will be a huge loss for humanity and nature, especially with the fatal threats staring at us. To conclude, allow me to quote Amma's words. The future belongs to mothers. Mothers must wake up and act. When Amma says mothers, it is not just the monopoly of women. Amma says motherhood or motherly love should awaken in men also. Because human beings, both sexes, are half man and half women within them. Ardhanarishwara. So while women are awakening to masculine qualities, and without losing the feminine aspects, the feminine qualities, men should awaken to feminine qualities. That's also important. So mothers must wake up and act. Amma says the purity and love of motherhood should be allowed to guide humanity. And when women march forward with awakened spirits, men should not only pave the way for them to come to the forefront, but also move away without blocking their path. Similarly, Amma says disabled or differently abled people are not incapable, as some people believe. They are just like us in so many ways, but they are different. And they have the innate power to transcend the so-called handicap and rise above and contribute to all areas of life, like others, perhaps more so. So let us embrace, accept, and encourage them and do everything that we can do to bring these two sections to the forefront. And Amma herself is the embodiment of transcending all weaknesses, all limitations, all barriers. You name any barrier, Amma had it. She was not educated. She was not born in an aristocratic family. She was born in the coastal village of Kerala, remote coastal village of Kerala. And she was not pretty. I mean, of course, maybe the prettiest because she is love-embodied, the most beautiful, but from worldly point of view. She was not financially sound. Name any barrier. And that person rose above all limitations, all weaknesses. And Amma is a woman, but a man also. Maybe the most powerful, one of the most powerful men, and women as well. So it's an example, an inspiration, a guide, a perfect mentor. Once again, I express my immense gratitude to Professor Achyut Samanta, Dr. Varun Sutra, and the entire teaching and non-teaching staff, and the students of KIIT for making this event a beautiful and memorable one. Thank you so much. Om Amriteshwariyai Namaha.
Vice Chairman of Mata Amritananda Mutt and President of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Swami Amrita Swarupananda Puri. Thank you so much for reminding us and giving us this fresh take on gender equality. Thank you, Swamiji. Coming up next, we have Mr. Vijay Nambiar ji, our Sherpa for C20 2023.
Sampujya Swami Amritananda ji, Amrita Swarupananda ji, Professor Achyut Samant, Ms. Phoolani ji, Rabu Damodaran ji, Naila ji, not to forget the other members of the IAC and Steering Committee, Nidhi ji, Sarthak ji, Bhavani ji, and Meg Jones ji, if I might. Ladies and gentlemen, it's such a big honor for me to be here today in this beautiful city on this beautiful morning. For the school occasion, as Bhavani ji said, it's getting warmer, of course, which represents the Working Group Summit on promoting gender equality and protection of people with disabilities. For Amma, as chair of the C20, the ideal vision of civil society, as Swamiji has so eloquently mentioned, is one where the individual and family, society and the state all work in unison, each to supplement the other in pursuit of an overall harmony. In her world, there is no ambiguity on the fundamental principle of gender equality as a basic human right and essential for a peaceful and prosperous as well as sustainable world. At various forums, India has strongly advocated women's empowerment across all spheres. As the Working Group on Gender Equality and Disability has reflected on the major issues before it, it has so far convened more than 26 meetings, consultations, workshops, and policy dialogues to draw attention to the various aspects of this important theme. On the one hand, you have underlined the need to raise your voice against the systematic denial of dignity to women seen in the various forms of domestic violence and gender-based harassment that are not only endemic, but have increased drastically across the globe during the period of the COVID-19 pandemic. On the other hand, you have also emphasized the urgency for stronger advocacy for better access to education, livelihoods, basic resources, and financial incentives. Gender discrimination in the workplace, covering recruitment and promotion, and the issue of gender leadership at all levels of decision-making in political, economic, and public life. As the Honorable Minister for Women and Child Development mentioned, highlighting Prime Minister Modi's strong emphasis on women-led development, when you invest in women-led development, you invest in a stronger economy, you invest in a stronger purpose to fuel your country's health sector, your country's education sector, because it has been historically proven that when a woman's purchasing power and consumption power involves a scale, that she tends to spend more of her money on these two important segments. Yet, though successive summits of the G20 have been promoting the goal of reducing inequalities and increasing inclusivity, gender equality, and protecting people with disabilities as major themes, why is it that the progress we see on the ground is still so limited and tardy? Why is it that the agenda finds listless mention and requires continuous repetition for it to be heard and acknowledged? Why are we forced to constantly identify new pathways to nurture inclusion and fresh levers to break down stereotypes and recreate perspectives to confront and overcome the so-called received wisdom and prejudices of the past? Meg Jones explained graphically in her presentation at the Inception Conference, we have heard all the right statements made by each about being the light. But the fact is, as she said, there is still need for somebody to flip that switch somewhere. That has not happened. We need to continue to move steadily ahead with what she calls awareness, courage, and tenacity, ACT. We are at the midpoint of the SDGs, and all indications are that the world is severely off track in achieving the gender equality-related growth and targets. While there are many historical, structural, social, and mindset barriers that continue to block our progress, there can be little doubt that if the G20, and India in particular, can significantly accelerate the implementation and achievement of the goal of women's-led development, that of itself will constitute an unprecedented historic achievement. We will need to build on the steps taken by the previous summits and launch transformative initiatives to ensure greater financial inclusion, digital empowerment, as well as the green economic participation to benefit women and people with disabilities. Bringing about greater understanding of the shifting traditional gender norms will require the collaboration and contribution of everyone in society. Let me recall here one of our early workshops of the GED in Srinagar, where you explored how men and boys can be strategically engaged to contribute to gender inclusion in policy and practice. It was most touching that you were able to actually leverage the so-called anxieties of patriarchy to bring about a greater understanding of the common responsibility stretching across genders and the need for compassion to build harmony and better understanding in the ordinary lives of CRPF families, the Central Reserve Police Force families posted in Srinagar, through a more sensible and balanced distribution of daily responsibilities among them. Your so-called Love You Zindagi Udaharan was impressive. Why? Because it dealt with people exposed so frequently to aggressive and violent combat environments and the mental stress and other pressures they faced that otherwise resulted in domestic violence or even suicides among the Jawans and their separated families. Your 4 pillars of stress management tools, reflection techniques, protocols for sharing practical chores, driving for example, or operating an ATM card, and non-judgmental thinking exercises have proved of great value in improving mental health and emotional resilience among both men and women. Equally related to addressing gender equality is addressing ableism, or the systematic exclusion of people with physical or mental disabilities. Improving such a situation requires us to locate viable pathways of disability inclusion that will provide practical benefits for differently abled individuals. We will need to focus on a range of need-based approaches, from providing physical access to individuals with disabilities into institutions, and I notice the presence of that in this particular institution, and then go on to ensure their access to appropriate education, healthcare, environment resources, skill building, employment, and other critical areas, so that they can live a dignified life. Only in this way can we provide the basis that will enable vulnerable and marginalized groups to contribute meaningfully to address the other local and global challenges that their peers commonly face. We often hear stories of extraordinary people who are able to cut through obstacles through inordinate determination and courage, and who have broken through glass ceilings to establish their place in society, whether they are women or disabled. This may seem counterintuitive, but for me, this is not the main measure of progress. It is when the ordinary people among the disabled and the discriminated feel their voice is heard, when their issues are addressed in the normal course, that we will say that there is real progress. I am happy to see the progress you have made in the various sub-themes and the large number of consultations, workshops, and other online symposia you have already conducted in the various thematic groups. It is only this kind of continuous activity through side events, what I think somebody called tenacity, which will help you to keep the spotlight on the priority issues. Swamiji just mentioned the logic and rationale for the establishment of a separate working group on disability, equity, and justice. We expect that this process will find fruition at the conclusion of this conference. Also, at your February meeting, I had raised the question of the need for you to launch a gender and disability data alliance of G20 countries, which can systematically collect, analyze, monitor, and evaluate data and policies in these priority areas. It would be I think it would be a great achievement if we are able to take this some steps forward. Apart from this, what you need now is to drill down on specific recommendations to take up with the G20 leaders for them to reflect on during the summit in September this year. I'm sure that as you go along such a multi-dimensional perspective, you will be able to adopt a framework that cuts across all dimensions of life, intersects all geographical and cultural contexts, cover both rural and urban spaces, and help build a sustainable human community that empowers all human beings, irrespective of gender or disability. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. We're now coming to a close of this program of the inaugural session. And for this, I would like to call upon Nidhi Goyal ji from Rising Flames. She's also the Indian co-coordinator for the Gender Equality and Disability Working Group.
Thank you. Laptop? Yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry. Namaskar, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today at this summit of Gender Equality and Disability Working Group within Civil 20 India. It's really, I'm so overwhelmed to give this vote of thanks. There are so many dignitaries here on the dais, in the room, civil society members who've been doing so important work, and all of us coming together with a single goal. As a steering committee member of Civil 20 India, it's a particularly memorable moment for me. I've worked across 22 countries. Over 10 years, I've had this opportunity to travel, but I've never been a witness to this kind of congregation or really confluence of ideas, of energies, of commitments coming together. The first thing, with a lot of gratitude to the vision of our Honorable Chair, to the Indian leadership, to Swamiji, respected Swamiji, member of Troika and representative of our Honorable Chair Amma, our respected Nambiar sir, thank you for acknowledging, thank you for supporting, and thank you for having this vision to bring forward a standalone disability working group going ahead from this summit. I just want to take this moment to say that this is a historical step in the G20 process, where Civil 20 has ever taken disability inclusion to a next level. I would really request everyone. Thank you to the Indian leadership and once again, our vision of our Honorable Chair, Mata Amritanandamayi Devi ji, for this step forward. As I said, this moment is a witness of a confluence of energies and commitments, the convergence of stakeholders, all with a single goal, to amplify civil society voices in attaining gender equality. We are the midway of the Sustainable Development Goals, as we understand, and it is important that we focus on leaving no one behind. Our speakers have been doing that. Goal 5 of gender equality, all women, including women standing at the margins. And we heard Amma speak about the women at the margins. We heard our Honorable Minister talk about that. Thank you for identifying the issue. The panels, the dignitaries, thank you for identifying the issue. Thank you for acknowledging that problems are many. But the most important thing is thank you for bringing the light here. Bringing the light and being the light through the udharans that you present, that you embody, and that you bring to the table. Gender inclusion and disability inclusion can become a reality only if all of us stand together. Thank you once again for coming and joining hands, for being the champions, and for inspiring all of us and our colleagues. A big thank you for creating this space, for standing with us, and for listening, as well as providing this opportunity for communities to lead. Our special guests, and I would like to thank each of them, starting from our Honorable Minister, Kunjusha ji, and our respected Permanent Secretary representing her. I'd really request Dr. Bhavani Rao to felicitate the Honorable Minister and and request Permanent Secretary Fulrani ji to accept this token on our behalf. Thank you, Fulrani ji, for gracing this occasion with your presence. And once again, Honorable Minister Shah, thank you for your very, very, very detailed words of support, of solidarity, of progress. Yes? I'll go. I would also like to particularly thank our International Advisory Committee, and as a steering committee, young steering committee member, it gives me great pleasure to thank Naila ji and Ramu ji for being here in person on this very special occasion of Eid and Akshaya Tritiya. Thank you so much for gracing again this occasion with your presence and the summit with your knowledge and expertise. Can we please have the clapping continued? Thank you, our respected Sherpa Nambiar sir, for constantly guiding us through the entire Civil 20 process. At your age, the commitment that you bring, you really inspire us to move forward in a more synchronized way. Honorable Chair, there is not enough words for her leadership, her vision, the way she has stood with all of us, blessed us and guided us. Very, very, very big pranams and thank you at the lotus feet of Amma. And respected Swamiji for being on the Troika and always guiding us through our entire journey of Civil 20. Thank you so much. I've saved one thank you for the end, a very, very warm gratitude and a heartfelt appreciation for our host, our partners, our senior, Dr. Achyuta Samanta. Can we have a huge round of applause? Thank you so much, sir, for having us here. We've heard about your incredible work. We witness it in these institutes and through your other political work as well. But one little story that someone came and whispered to me at the back of the stage, which is really important for all of us to know, right? A story of 20 years ago, when 2 students with muscular dystrophy could not find an academic institution that could support them. And Dr. Samantha and his team, his efforts brought them here, made them feel welcome, accommodated their needs, and ensured that they could become productive citizens of India, contributing to society, being economically independent. I would like to acknowledge Dr. Samantha particularly for this, and the students, Ravi Kiranji and Ravi Tejaji, who made this institute and were receivers of the love and compassion that this institute brought in all of our lives. I just want to say that love and compassion, empathy brings us together, but this kind of commitment that we see from our experts, our dignitaries, from all of you, the commitment and the goal moves us forward. So let us together today and continue to move forward to ensure that the social, political and economic growth is human-centric and holds together and creates space for people at the margins, for women, for gender equality, to truly attain the goal of one earth, one family. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm going to just jump in really quickly. We're about a whole session over time, so we will skip the next plenary session and then we will bring the coffee break forward. And so we were going to give you, there was going to be a presentation, a video talk by the UN Resident Coordinator, Shambi Sharp, which we will play later during the day, and we were going to give an introductory talk on the deliberations that have happened within the Gender Equality and Disability Working Group, as well as a presentation of our methodology on how we have reached the policy decisions. Unfortunately, because we've run out of time, we'll probably just compress it when we do our next plenary session. So for now, I will let the MC call this session to a close with the coffee break and then going straight into the parallel sessions.
Good afternoon one more time. As announced, we'll be breaking for coffee and for some refreshments. Our guests can also proceed to the banquet room, which is on your right-hand side. The exit is this way for our guests, for our discussants and participants. For everybody else, including our students, refreshments will be served at the end, the rear exit in the foyer area. Following which, we ask all our discussants to join their respective rooms. And for the others, they can come back to the auditorium and join us right here. We will be breaking for coffee now. You can proceed to have snacks.